I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
I think we're live now. What's up, everybody? We are here talking Sword Art Online, Alicization, War of Underworld. I know it looks a little bit different today because the world is a bit different today. But we are going to be talking about episode 9, Sword and Fist, and I have a special guest with me. Welcome, Koi.
Hello. I don't know about special.
You are a special guest. No, you're a special guest here. The leader of the pugilists. So, let's first start talking about how did you hear about this role? How did you get into it? And just a little bit about your character.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I haven't had that much traffic with Sword Art Online, the franchise, in such a long time. And one day I'm just sitting on my couch in my living room and I get an email saying, "Hey, you just got cast as Iskon in Sword Art." I'm like, "Cool. Who's Iskon?" Then I Google it.
That's cool.
Yeah. I get this picture of this kid with like an 8-pack, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I've been typecast because I too am super buff young man. Yeah.
Nice. Then you kind of mentioned it, but had you been watching Sword Art much prior to this?
Not Alicization, not that much. Yeah. Sure. But when I got the email, that's when I started, looking up the Sparks notes.
Nice. That's cool though. How has the reception been from the fans for you?
Well, so far, I think it's still a little quiet because Iskon just started.
Happened.
He just got out there. But fingers crossed. I hope people like the dub. I know that they like the original Japanese when it aired, and
right.
I think this was the episode that ate up all the animation budget because we get like a full minute and a half of glorified barbarian dancing, which was just spectacular in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that last night's episode was memorable for a lot of fans.
Well, I was going to say, also, speaking of fans, we are airing this live. So if you're with us live, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us and bearing with our adjustments. But I felt this is actually very perfect for Sword Art of meeting digitally.
There's some poetry to be found.
Right. Join in the chat. And if you're watching later, please comment down below. You did mention that great fight, but before we say that, so the very beginning of this episode, I like that Alice and Bercole are just like, okay, the plan's working really well, maybe too well. So I wonder if that is foreshadowing of bad stuff happening, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Then it goes into, we get to kind of see the pugilists show up. This, like, we've seen your character a little bit before, but we didn't really get to see what they do. And I actually got to look up pugilist. Did you have to look up the word pugilist? I'm like, what is that?
If you're someone who plays a lot of MMOs, a lot of fantasy MMOs, it's usually a class that you can play as. There's thieves, there's warriors, then there's paladins and pugilists. It's one of those. So they're typically the as I understand it, the hand-to-hand combat dudes and dudettes. Yeah. They do a lot of punching and kicking. Yeah.
Well, I've had pugs. I wanted to call it a pugilist, and I'm like, no, that is not what it is. We do have a couple people in the live chat right now. Natsu says, asks, what's it been like to voice an awesome character like Iskon, the pugilist warrior who loved fighting against Shaita?
Oh, it's a lot of fun. It's very, very therapeutic. Because typically I get I don't get cast as a lot of hyper characters. I typically get the brooding, edgy dude. So to get a chance to scream like for 3 hours straight a week, I think has has given me an outlet for a lot of unaddressed rage in my life. So
Yeah.
so it's definitely a lot of fun.
Did you have any sort of preparation when you are doing a lot of yelling, screaming, grunting, like the fight noises for your voice, or well, both? What kind of preparations do you do for your voice in that? And then when you're in the booth, are you kind of like moving around and jumping or trying to do some of the fight moves?
Yeah, Iskon is definitely a very physical character, so it would be very difficult to sound authentic if I didn't also move
Mm.
with him. And the challenge there is not to accidentally punch the mic, which uh, which I will
Oh
not admit
wow.
I did, just in
I
case
was
the
gonna
studio's
say, did
watching.
you?
But insofar as preparations beforehand, you can only do so much. Don't
Mhm.
hurt yourself. Drink a lot of water. Drink a lot of warm
Mhm.
tea. And during the session, make sure that you're not hurting yourself. And that's the great thing about working with Alex, is that he's very conscious about that sort of stuff. He'll ask you, "Are you
Yeah.
okay? Do you have another take in you? Do you want to move on? Do you want to save this for later?" Usually, what we do is we'll get all the talking out of the way first, and then we'll go back for the screaming, because that's it's the end of the
Mm.
session. That's when I get
Mhm.
to blow out my voice if I need to.
Mhm. Well, speaking of water,
Yeah.
we got Oathkeeper in the chat says it was lit and not just what happened at the end, which we will talk about that. And then they go on to say, I call them pugs for short.
Yeah, pugs. The
They're a
pugs
really
get.
cool race. Like I thought they were really
Yeah.
interesting. I didn't before when we just see them and we don't really get to know much about them. It was kind of like, oh, who are these people? But I like that we
Hmm.
get to see a bit about them and that they refuse to be cut. I was like,
Hmm.
oh, it's like a superpower. What do
That's
you think of
really
that? Of
cool.
like essentially you're a superhero.
Yeah. No, that's super cool. Like, my superpower is I'm deciding you can't cut me, and now you
Hmm.
can't.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Uh, you're like Luke Cage.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like can't
Yeah.
break the skin, and it's like,
Mhm,
whoa, what
yeah.
happened? But so
Yeah.
they come up to the oh sorry, go ahead.
I don't know. I was
Oh,
done. Yeah.
um, oh, I mean we're this is getting a little bit ahead, and I know you can't really do spoilers, but Natsu asks, are you excited to see what EastCon does in the next part 2 of World Underworld? And then saying it's so exciting.
I have um dipped a toe on Google just to see what happens to
Oh,
Iskan.
okay.
And so, wink, wink. Yes, I am very excited to
Nice.
see what happens when it's adapted into the anime.
Mm.
Hmm.
Oh, do you read the light novels at all now doing it? Because some people have asked that. I do think it's not everybody does. But are you mainly just working with the show, like when you go in?
I'm sorry. What was that? And
Do you read the light novels or just go in, get the script, and focus on that?
no, I don't read the light novels. I wish I could say yes,
No, but that's
because
what Alex is
yeah,
for. Because he mentioned he
yeah,
reads them and then
yeah,
so explains
yeah,
it for
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. Also, I don't want to deny Alex the opportunity to nerd out and explain it to me.
Did you have any questions while recording for your character that you didn't quite get that you asked him, or any unique questions that you're like, "Hey, about this character?"
Uh, no questions came up. Not to say that I know everything about Iskan, but
Yeah.
contextually, it was pretty straightforward.
Okay. Yeah.
So what most of what I needed to know was already on screen and in the
Oh,
script.
okay.
So
Nice.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I was gonna say the next big exciting moment that kind of happens, we get Alice and Uncle kind of watching the pugilist run up, and then we meet another integrity knight. We get Sheta
Hmm.
Synthesis 12. And
Yeah.
I like that Alice and Broccoli are like, ooh, who's that? And they're almost kind of like nervous by her. And I was like, oh, okay, who is this person that's making both of these very, very, very stoic people
Yeah,
on edge?
because she hasn't spoken a word right up until this
Yeah.
episode, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we were just like, okay, cool, another
Yeah.
night. But yeah, I thought she was super interesting. The
Yeah.
way her blade was thin and almost like a
Hmm.
rapier, almost had a fluidness to it as well.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And then it's cool because I respect that your character respects her as a fighter. Like at first,
Yeah.
like, oh, you're a weak little woman. What are you? Oh, girl. He
Mhm.
calls her a girl first. Like, what are you
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
do?
Yeah. And then she shows him what she's gonna do.
Yes.
That was brutal. Yeah.
Yes. Their fight was really cool. I loved also like her armor starts to break and he's like, now you
Yeah.
look like a warrior, which is
Hmm.
makes sense because all none of the pugilists are wearing armor. So
Yeah.
someone
Yeah.
bulked up, how much of a warrior are you when you essentially
Hmm.
have padding?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It- Um uh where's the option? Sorry, I was trying to read the chat here.
No problem.
I can't. Uh Again, if we do have the live chat, so if you have your questions for Koi, please chime in with those, and otherwise, please do comment down below. Yeah, so I like there with fighting, and then she gets down to no armor, and she even rips off part of the not really skirt, but like the drape
Hmm. Yeah.
part.
Whatever's. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
she's like, "No, I need to fight." And we get her backstory with the administrator, and she has some unique hobbies and interests. We'll say that.
Yeah.
Uh, What'd you think of that? Of like, okay, this is a character. I mean, you're watching as like, your character, but as a fan too of this character is told, "Oh, you actually just really want to cut things open and see what's inside." It's like, "Oh, okay."
I mean, here's the thing, right? That's that. I feel like that's supposed to make you feel a little unsettled, like
Mhm.
wanting to cut things open and see what's inside. That's some psychopath stuff. But
Just
I
a little bit.
just a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I am so deeply infatuated with Shada just because I think she's so cool. Uh,
Yes.
I'm willing to forgive any psychopathic tendencies. It's just
Well, y- yeah, it's kind of like
yeah,
Dexter. As long as she kills the bad people, it's
yeah,
okay.
yeah. And
But
she
then we're
shows
saying that
like
pugilists are bad people, so
yeah. And that's the thing is that she shows like a drop of awareness that maybe this isn't a cool way to think.
yeah.
So I shouldn't be proud that I feel like cutting everything open just to take a peek
Yeah.
inside. Yeah. So there's a bit of humanity in there.
Yeah, and actually that reminds me of the part when she first gets there to the Pugilist army, she cuts a bunch of them, but she doesn't kill them. And your
Hmm.
character Iskon's like, "Oh, you maimed them," which from their standpoint as a warrior could be almost worse than death because then you're not
Yeah.
complete
Yeah.
for their way of thinking.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I was
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
it was an interesting moment with her that she's not killing them. So is that
Yeah.
merciful?
I don't know.
Not
She's still
exactly.
so shrouded in mystery.
Yes. We
Yeah.
barely get anything.
Yeah.
Uh Natsu asked, did you like the new opening with EastCon? Well, to be honest, I probably fast forward through the opening.
Yeah. I have to confess I might have not paid attention just
Yeah.
because I wasn't expecting him to make an
Well,
appearance in
that's
it.
a good sign that your character's in that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So see
It's
more of them.
yeah.
Then we get they kind of their fight is essentially over-ish, and I like that Iskon goes, "Okay, well, you can't just leave." And of course she gets a dragon that shows
Yeah.
up. So, oh, stinking dragons.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then,
Uh,
"Wait, well, what's your name?" Oh, and because she tells him I have a name, and then
yeah.
I like that she reveals that name.
Yeah. 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 Because he's been
Um,
calling her a woman the entire time.
yes. And
Hmm.
he's like, "Okay, I respect you as a fighter," and he wants to fight her again. I do like it is fun in a show when two characters that are so skilled finally have someone who's at their level that they're
Yeah.
both like, oh my gosh, like you can fight at my level and you're not even going, like, I want to full out go fight with you. It's a weird,
Yeah.
like, can we play?
Yeah, no, that's always a great
Yeah.
moment, especially for the viewer, if and only if because you'd be in for just an amazing looking
Mm-hmm.
fight. Yeah,
Yeah. And it's just
yeah,
shot so well that's very entertaining
yeah.
fight to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Also during this time, we have Renly and some of the troops are kind of waiting for an ambush, but I feel with Renly in charge, no offense, Renly, this is not going to go so well. And then we learn that maybe they know something else is going on. And somehow, I wasn't quite exactly sure how he got past them, but he's on his own. Visago's back by the supply camp, and it's like, oh shit.
Mm,
And we almost, which a lot of people on Twitter commented online too, they're really worried about Ronier. Like, whoa, do not mess with our girl.
she must be protected.
Right? She's so precious.
Yeah.
And so Visago's going around and trying to get her, and he has extra soldiers. But I like that Ronier has her moment. She's like, no, I was taught to use my senses,
Yeah,
not just my
that was
eyes.
really cool.
Right? And then
Yeah.
Visago goes, wait, this sounds familiar, which I'm like, is he connecting the dots with Kirito?
Mm.
I don't know. He's smart, but maybe not that smart.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, we got Oathkeeper in the chat said Shaita and Iskon or fighting buddies. Yes, they are fighting buddies. They're one of those like, I don't like you, but I'll fight with you.
Yeah.
We'll go spar.
I hope they get to be more than buddies.
Right?
I don't know. Yeah.
They seem suited for each other.
I know.
Well, then Ronier calls into action. I like, though, that this character that's like, there's a bad guy. Because too many things, it's like, well, I'm just going to fight you right here. And you're like, yo, tell everybody else.
For real. That was a great subversion of that
Yes.
trope.
Yeah.
Where
So
the
she
weak
calls
character tries to
everybody.
be courageous.
Right.
Yeah.
Tisei comes out too, and the rest of their troops, but it's still like maybe looking a little like, uh-oh. But this is where we get that big thing at the end that somebody the chat mentioned earlier of it being lit. We get a air quotes of a goddess, which is going to be Asuna. We know it.
Yeah,
is.
obviously. Yeah.
Which was epic, cool. And
Yeah.
I'm like, of course she picked a goddess as her avatar.
I mean, who wouldn't, right? Given the choice.
Yeah. And so the ground is able to open up, and I like that Visago, he clicks and is like, oh, I recognize her and I know. And then we're only covering what's in this episode. I know you could watch the sub and know what's going on, so please no spoilers, anybody. But I like this moment because I'm like, oh, he could die. And we've already learned he could die in the game and come back. He just has to start at a lower level character. So I'm kind of looking forward to where that goes, that he was like this high level rank in a way, and now he's going to be more like a grunt when he comes back in. So
yeah.
We get Natsu says in the chat, Ronnie's mentor Kirito and Yujiro would be so proud of Ronnie fighting against a powerful enemy like Visago. Absolutely. Like, her and Tisei have grown so much from even just a couple episodes when they're trying to fight one of the goblins coming in, and they needed help from Renly, but now they're both like, all right, we can do some damage. So then we get that Asuna at the end, so it's like, oh my goodness.
I know.
And Oathkeeper asks, and Visago is connected to Kirito and Asuna, the new viewers. Who is he? Well, Visago we know was from the outside, and then he had played them, I think, before in previous like games and attacks. So that's how he knows him, or at least that's how I'm understanding your question. Sorry if I misunderstood that, chat. All right. Did you have any other thoughts in the episode? I think that kind of covers the main bit right now. Alice and Broccoli are running back to be the assist, and that's when we get to see the goddess to their understanding. I'm also really excited to see how Asuna and Alice get to talk to each other, if they talk to each other.
Yeah.
I feel that can go a little wonky at first. Oh, okay. Sarah Does Gaming in the chat says they're hinting at his identity. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, we don't know too much, so I'll go with that.
Yeah.
Oh, think about what he said during PKing. Oh, okay, when he was player killing. All right, good.
Yeah.
Thank you. So yes, Koi, any other thoughts on what the rest happened in the episode, or were there any moments that stood out to you? I'll ask you first as a viewer. Were there any other moments that stood out to you?
While we're on the topic of Visago sneaking
Mm-hmm.
around, PKing,
Yeah.
player killing, see,
Yeah.
that's the way that I like to play these kinds of video
Oh,
games.
oh, you're one of
Yeah,
those.
yeah, no, I like stealthing, and I'm
Okay, yeah.
wondering if that layer of removal where it's a video game and these aren't
Mm-hmm.
technically real people that I'm killing has
Mm-hmm.
um a- any contributes to the level of remorselessness that he's operating on
Oh
screen,
yeah.
because I definitely really there's a visceral satisfaction to sneaking up on someone and stabbing them in a video game,
Yes.
all right,
Yeah.
don't do that in real life, you'd be committing a crime.
I'm curious because
Yeah.
we've got a little bit about him, but we haven't gotten our backstory. And I think
Mhm.
in one of the previous episodes, it was mentioned we get more of his backstory
Yeah,
later
yeah,
on because we're on episode
yeah,
9 of 12, so I feel it
yeah.
could be coming in the nearish
Mhm.
future.
Yeah, but as that episode is concerned, that's when I felt myself. S- uh, that's when I felt strangely connected to this villainous
Mm.
character, even though I would not consider myself to be anywhere on that level of depravity.
Well,
But I
actually, I
could
was gonna say. Oh, go ahead.
uh, I was just gonna say that I absolutely understand the satisfaction of stealth killing another player.
I mean, it takes a level of skill, and so it
Yeah,
has
yeah,
that satisfaction of it's not just a boring NPC, of
yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh, it's
yeah,
just on a loop. But
yeah.
we'll see. Um, so what I was gonna Oh, are you not to ask? Are you going to play the new Sword Art Online game when it releases in May?
When it releases in May in English?
Yeah, I was
Question
like, which
mark.
game? Well, would you play
Yeah,
once
and
it's in
which
English?
game?
Yeah, there's going
Yeah.
to be a new Sword Art Online game coming out.
Okay.
Um, but yeah.
I
Are
have.
you what I mean, you kind of mentioned what kind of games. What kind of games are your more forte?
I really love RPGs. I really love
Okay.
JRPGs. I love the ones where where they give you a character creator, so you can make a little thing, a
Nice.
simulacrum of yourself, and you can sneak around and kill other players sneakily. Um, so yeah, I am definitely familiar with the genre of game Sword Art Online video game would be,
Nice.
and I want to say yes, and you know what? I'll put it on my list, but I already have such a long list of games I'm supposed to play that I haven't really
Right?
gotten around to doing, just because
Yeah.
there's so much. There's so freaking
Yes.
much.
Oh, I was gonna ask you, so technically we would definitely we can all agree Visaga's a bad character. Like he's a bad guy.
Hmm.
Iskan is interesting because we've experienced a little bit that the dark territory doesn't mean they're bad people. Do
Yeah.
you see Iskan as a bad guy?
No. It's actually hard to put his allegiances in a
Mm.
specific category.
Hmm.
I think we as the viewers saw that he- he's not really obeying, Emperor what's his face, weirdo wants to eat
Yeah.
Alice's soul, out of a sense of loyalty, but his allegiance is to the thrill of battle. That's what he respects, and that's what he allows to dictate
Mm.
his moves and his decisions. So he's a kid who wants to have a good time,
Yeah.
and I would go further in depth, but that would be spoiling
Oh,
some
okay.
future
All right, that's fine.
episodes, because you really get a look inside of his head. I think like 2 or 3 episodes from now. I think
Okay.
episode 9 was just an introductory episode of, oh,
Hmm.
look at this super awesome badass who kicks rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
No, but I wouldn't call Iskan a bad guy, even though
Yeah,
technically he's working for a pretty terrible dude right now. Yeah.
just a little bit. Yeah.
Hmm.
What was your favorite scene to voice or your favorite line?
Oh, it's damn. It's the one where he charges at Shada and he screams, "Here I come, woman!" It's it's it was difficult to deliver that specific line without sounding a little.
Mm,
It was difficult not to sound
yeah,
misogynistic, you know, or I'm not looking down on you because you're a woman. It's just all I know to call you right now.
no, that
So
makes sense because
yeah,
there's
yeah,
female warriors in the pugilist
yeah, yeah,
group,
yeah,
so
yeah,
it doesn't seem like he would. It's
yeah,
just I don't know your
yeah,
name and thing.
yeah. But because
And he doesn't like the knights, so
yeah, I'm that guy, and I'm terrified of implying such things.
yeah.
And I think at one point, I might have brought it up during the session, and I was basically told that I was overthinking it and just to
Oh,
just do the line. So
nice,
you know what? Yeah, no, I think it was fun. It was a fun one. I like screaming at people.
nice.
Yeah.
Um, what is some voice acting advice you wish you could have told yourself?
Okay.
Like when you
You
first
know,
started, what are a couple things, few things that you're like, oh, I wish I could have told myself this then.
yeah. Think apart from the obvious, drink water and believe in yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
The one thing I would have liked to tell little Koi starting out on this terrifying journey is it's okay to sometimes not know what you're doing.
Mm,
Just because it's such an unstable path to walk, a solid concrete plan is the bedrock of hope for a lot of people, and it's not always going to be there, and it's going to drive you insane if you
mm.
don't believe that it is okay to fumble around in the dark sometimes, because it is a very uncertain path. So if it feels like the well's drying up and you ain't got a plan, just take a second to breathe, calm down, and you know things will change, and things do get better. Is
Yeah.
what I would like to tell little Koi.
Aw, that's some good advice.
Yeah.
Um, all right, and then one more real quick. What's something you think people take for granted with voice acting that you're like, no, or like, oh my gosh, nobody really knows this?
Yeah. Oh, where to begin? All right. Well, I think
Well, keep it quick, but yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think the most relevant one would be that dubbing is easy, which it
Hmm.
is not, because we really strive for perfection these days. We really want the dub to be good, and we want it to look good. So we will do the same line over and over again until it fits the lip flaps and it sounds good. Which sometimes you can only give one or the other, and it's no, we want both. So it's
Hmm.
hard. It's freaking hard. Dubbing's hard.
All right. But I'm glad to hear you all put
Yeah,
it's the best you can do and strive
yeah.
for making it perfect.
Mhm.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me with talk about this episode, and thank you everybody who watched and joined in our live chat. I know things are a bit wonky right now, but you know what? We come together with our love of anime and talk about it. And we'll Koi, to continue talking with you, where can people find you online?
Mostly on Twitter. My Twitter handle is Koidao with three O's, so that's KhoiDaoo. And I'm Koi and Cats on Instagram, although I don't really post that much on Instagram. And when I do, it's usually cat pictures.
Thus,
So
Koi
yeah,
and Cats.
therefore, yeah, that's Koi and Cats.
Cool. And then
Mhm.
also real quick, do you have any projects you're working on right now that you want to share or a bunch of NDAs?
Oh, it's NDA City, baby.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, then people need to follow you on Twitter or Instagram to be up to date on those
yeah, yeah,
projects.
absolutely, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
no, Well, my name is Kari Lane. You can find me online at Kari D Lane. That's KaridLane. Thank you so much for joining me. And again, Coy, thank you for joining me as well
Of course.
digitally. And see you all next week. See ya.
Bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.